Hello. Hi, I'm Simon, and today we're going to be talking about a sport that's been near and dear to me for quite some time, and that sport's golf. Hence the reason why we're on a golf course. This is Topeka Country Club. And have you ever heard of Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson? They're two of the best golfers ever. They're from America, and they're kind of the reason that I decided to play myself. And have you at least seen someone hit a golf ball? I mean, there's actually a lot that goes into it. You'd be quite surprised. Today we're just going to talk about some of the things that go into it, maybe some of the fundamentals and the history behind it. According to internationalgolffederation.com, golf began in 100 BC, which that's obviously a long, long time ago. And that's kind of the beginning per se, because that back then they had wooden sticks that they used and rocks to hit the golf balls. It wasn't quite the same as it is today. Um, then the golf actually evolved into what it is today. The 15th century, it began in Scotland. That's when they actually had grass and wooden clubs of these kinds, and they had balls that were made of leather with feathers inside of them called the feathery. And then golf finally made its way overseas to America from a guy named William Burnett. He brought his golf clubs along to his country club when he moved over here. He became the governor of Massachusetts, and he instilled golf all around the country, and that's how it began here today. And then over time, it's just became what it is. I mean, the technology and clubs and everything has just gone through the roof, and golf's a multi-million-dollar business. Back then, they actually didn't even have lawnmowers or anything when it began. They had sheep. It just was a grazing field, and they just ate the grass. There was no lawnmowers or anything of the sort. So now let's talk a little bit about what golf actually is and some of the rules behind it. So if you ever did want to play, this is what you would need to know. There are 18 holes in a round of golf, and this is a scorecard. This is what you keep score on. So for each hole, you write your number that it took you to get it in the hole in each one of these little squares, and you put your name down this side. And there's 18 holes, like I said, and where 18 came from is that there used to be 18 shots in a whiskey bottle. So that's kind of a weird way, but they used to take one shot on each hole, and it used to just be a great time for everyone to play. And over time, the game's changed a lot. Now we have different tee markers. As you can tell here, there's blue, white, gold, and then the red ones down here. And if you look over this way, you can see the tee markers are these little cement things, and those are where you tee off depending on your skill level or how far you hit the ball. So those are all really important things. And some of the technology that's really came from golf is things called rangefinders. This has just changed the game in tons of ways. It's basically like a scope on a sniper rifle, and it tells you how far you are away from anything. It goes up to about 1,000 yards. So that's really impressive on these things. I don't know who came up with them, but it's just revolutionized the game. And going back to the scorecard, another really important thing is there's things called par 3s, par 4s, and par 5s. And those are the three different types of holes. And a par is the norm amount of shots that it takes to get you on that hole. So a par 3 would be a little shorter than a par 4. Usually par 3s are anywhere from 150 yards to 200 yards, depending on your skill level, because of which tee you would be playing from. Par 4s are anywhere from about 350 yards to 400, again, depending on your skill level. And then par 5s, these are always the hardest holes. They take the most shots to get there. They're usually somewhere right around 500 yards, depending on your skill level as well. And looking at the bag, this is what every golfer has. It's pretty much your best friend. I mean, if you play golf, you spend a lot of time with it. There's 14 clubs There's 14 clubs in your golf bag, and let's go through some of them right now. We got the first club. This is what you hit off every tee box. This is your driver. As you can tell, it's really big, it's really long, and it's actually the most lightweight club in the bag. You have your fairway woods. These are next length clubs. Most people hit these about probably 250 yards if you play a lot, and your driver goes probably around 280 yards. And then next clubs you have are called your irons, that are all of these right here, and you have quite a few of them. And anywhere from the 4-iron to the pitching wedge is what it's called. Your 4-iron goes about 200 yards, and your pitching wedge goes about 130. And you're probably asking, like, why do they go that much different? Well, if you look at them here, the length of the clubs is substantially different. Here you go. So here's the pitching wedge ending, and here's the 4-irons ending. Another reason why the clubs all go different distances is the lofts of the clubs here. The pitching wedge is around 46 degrees in loft, and the 4-iron's probably around 20 degrees in loft, somewhere in there. So there's a lot that goes into the clubs as well. There's tons of different types of shafts, and then these are called steel shafts. There's also graphite shafts, which are a little lighter for more beginners. You have graphite shafts in your driver's fairway woods, so you can tell these are black. And then your next type of clubs, these are called wedges. You have sand wedge, lob wedge, approach wedge, and you'll use these around the green. And as you can tell, they're also shorter than the pitching wedges. You'll just use these to chip when you miss the greens from the fairways. Next club here is your putter. You've probably seen these before. This one looks kind of weird, but these are just like what you have on mini putt-putt courses. And there's tons of different variations to these. As you can tell, this one, there's an alignment thing you got going here. Lots of them might have like 2 little balls, and there's also ones that aren't super big like these. Some of them are just little blades. So there's tons of different variations to that. Next, what we have here is we have tees and we have divot fixers. These are all really important things. Here's the tee. These are where you tee your balls up within tee box. And we've got divot fixers here. These are what you use them for is when you hit the ball into the green, it makes a little hole, so you have to fix that or else it's going to ruin the green. And then you can use anything for ball markers pretty much. Here all we have is quarters. You use these on the greens to mark your ball so other people's balls don't get in the way when you're putting. And today I'm going to have one of my friends show you. He's going to hit the ball here for you just real quick, just so you can see what it's like. His name's Andrew, by the way. And he got a hold of that one there. I mean, this is what we come out and do pretty much every day, all day. It's a great time, and lots of people do it for a living, and it'd pretty much be the ideal job if you ask me. So now that you know some of the basics behind golf and just some of the rules, like 18 holes, you know, when it began a long time ago, and just so you can see how to hit the ball and all the things that go into it, and it's something that I absolutely love and hope you can maybe become fond with sometime soon. Thank you.